Today, on an all-new Dr. Phil, is her ex using their sons?
Do you give your child support checks to the boys?
To punish her?
I want to be able to pay the bills.
At some point, it's got to stop being my fault she can't afford her life.
Plus, a custody battle turns ugly.
He took showers with her more than once.
Her accusations are insane.
When they discover their daughter's notes in a box.
I got to tell you, these left me very disturbed. This is going to be a changing day in your life.
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
It matters to you. That's what I want to talk about. Are we ready in the booth? Let's do it. Now, after 20 years of marriage, Jeff and his soon-to-be ex-wife, Angie, are locked in a downright nasty dispute. They may be legally separated, but they're far from being physically separated, as they actually live across the street from each other. I mean, right across the street. Jeff says after 5 marriage counselors and 3 mediations, it's crystal clear to him that Angie is only concerned with herself and getting as much money out of his pocket as she possibly can.
When we first separated, we both moved into our own individual townhouses. Our front doors are 70 yards from each other. We can't get divorced because we can't agree on anything. During this time, Angie's been angry, manipulative, appreciative, disrespectful. No matter how much financial support I give, it's never enough. She doesn't understand that child support's for the children. I was married to her for 20 years. I know how she is with managing money. At one point, I think I counted her shoes. There was over 400 pairs of shoes. I'll just get off the phone with her about not having enough food because I'm not giving her enough money, and then one of the boys will tell me, you know, she just went out and bought new wine glasses. If she's having trouble paying for her cable, her cell phone, or whatever, that's not my problem. At some point, it's got to stop being my fault she can't afford her life. She needs to figure out her own financial independence from me.
Well, there's 2 sides to the story, and Angie says that Jeff is just out to make her life miserable and will stop at nothing to make sure that she suffers.
Jeff and I are unable to get divorced because we can't agree on a separation agreement. The separation has been very hard. He's just angry all the time. He does go out of his way to make my life pretty miserable. It was not my choice to live 100 yards from my ex-husband. He moved in here after I did. Jeff has always lied during our marriage, but the one thing I never thought he would do is have an affair with my friend. Jeff puts the kids in the middle of lot, and he needs to stop. He was having them deliver the child support checks. He does a lot of talking through the children. What the court ordered him to pay doesn't even cover the groceries, let alone the bills. I believe that he's making more money than what he's claimed, and I just want him to do what's fair by the kids. Last month, he didn't pay any child support whatsoever. I need that child support money to pay the bills. I'm struggling. I stayed at home with the kids for 10 years. I just feel like he's trying to punish me for leaving, which is just hurting our kids.
Okay, tell me what your hope is in being here today.
My hope in being here today is to try to figure out a way that we can co-parent. He's very angry all the time. I feel like all the issues that he brings up has absolutely nothing to do with us co-parenting and being able to do this for the kids.
And what's your goal in being here today?
Well, I think what's important at this point is just to put the past in the past. I mean, at this point, it's about the kids.
You think I've been through this situation before?
Yes.
Obviously.
At what point do the kids get to have their turn? At what point do you stop trying to get even with each other and do something that actually benefits your children?
I don't see it as getting even. The problem is we talk about we can't get divorced because I can't agree to anything. I signed everything in a mediation. I agreed to all of it.
You're really going to make me do this, aren't you?
I guess so.
Well, I have 3 emails here that you sent her. One of them says, if you don't leave my house, you will be very uncomfortable at my home. I hate you. You are a bad person. Thanks for making me hate your guts. But yet you come out here and say, oh, you know, Dr. Phil, I'm just interested in working out something for our children.
Well, Dr. Phil,
we just want to co-parent.
I understand. Those were written probably over a year ago.
I've got a notebook full of stuff here. You're going to actually make me do this. Okay. If you think I haven't done my homework, I have.
That's fine.
Well, what's fine? Tell me what's fine, because there's nothing fine about this.
Right. Anything can be taken out of content.
Okay. Well, put it in context for me.
When those angry remarks were made. Certain situations would arise that would create emotions through me that upset me, yes. I mean, I am a human being, and I would get upset, and I said things that I regret.
You slept with your friend?
Correct.
On your 15th anniversary?
No, sir.
2 weeks before our 15-year anniversary.
Are you putting the boys in the middle of this?
No, sir, not anymore. There were times I did. There were times I made those mistakes.
Did you give your child support checks to the boys?
Not anymore. That was right at the beginning, and this parenting class talked about those types of issues. I didn't realize it was as big a deal as it was until I got educated about that.
Y'all have called the police on each other, what, 3 times? Really? You've called the police 3 times? Y'all been married 20 years, and after that 20 years, you feel like you need to call the police. Was your life in jeopardy?
On one particular occasion.
So you felt like he was going to kill you?
On one particular occasion, I had never seen him act like that before, and it scared me to death.
Why'd you call the police?
She was inebriated, wanted to argue, and I didn't. She kicked the door in that went to the basement. I mean, I was in my assigned area to avoid conflict. I actually called him and hung the phone up, but, you know, once you called the call, they come in. And subsequently that night, they said because of her inebriation, they asked me to take the boys with me and go spend the night somewhere else that night to diffuse the situation.
You afraid of her?
Am I afraid of her? No, sir.
You think she's unstable?
I think she can be emotional.
Do you cry and get upset in front of the boys?
Yes, unfortunately.
Do you tell them that he's not giving you enough money to take care of them?
I tell them that we don't have the money that we used to have.
Did you tell your son that if he had not given him money to go skiing, he could have given you that money to take care of other things?
Yes.
What was your goal in doing that?
I don't know. I don't know.
No, you did
that's
for
why I'm
we
here.
don't do things without a reason.
I'm obviously not doing something right, so that's why.
Well, what was your goal for him to do with that information?
For him to understand why I had to say no to what he was asking me to do, pay for.
So you wanted a 15-year-old to do the metrics on the math between the two of you. Do you think he felt guilty about having the money to go skiing? When his mother tells him, if you hadn't done this, then we would have had money for groceries or utilities or whatever?
I didn't exactly put it that way, but no, I shouldn't have done it. And I did go back and talk to him later and apologize.
You say that he uses money to make you look bad. He does things for them that you can't do, so he looks like good cop and you're bad cop.
Can I say something there?
Oh, sure.
I am never going to apologize because I might, in a certain instance, have the ability to provide my children something they need. So, I mean, making a statement, when her saying that, I'm not going to feel bad about it. You know what I mean? As far as, I'm going to make sure they have what they need, and when I have the ability to give them something they want, then I'm going to do it.
Do y'all understand it doesn't matter? All of this, it doesn't matter. This doesn't matter.
All these things we're discussing as well happened over a year ago.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it was a year ago or last week. It's part of the kids' fiber here, and you shouldn't be doing it, right?
Correct.
We don't want this to be happening, right? You want this to change, correct?
And yes, and there have been lots of changes, and that's why I referred to the time frame on what these specific instances.
Okay, is everything fine now?
Everything is much better.
Okay, well then good. Thank you all for coming.
Everything is better as far as how we handle the children, Dr. Phil. As far as let me rephrase that. I can't put words in her mouth. The way I interact with my children and the way that I'm now handling the separation and divorce with my kids has changed. So I'll correct myself.
I feel like it's the worst it's ever been.
It doesn't make it a self-fulfilling prophecy. Saying it doesn't make it real.
Exactly, and you saying everything is fine doesn't make it real.
As far as the way I now handle my children, as far as the way we discuss things in the divorce, I can't control that.
Okay, so you're fixed, she's the problem. If I can get her to straighten up and admit she's wrong.
Well, I'd obviously love to say that. Obviously, I'm sure there's some untruths in that. I mean, I'm not perfect. There's still a lot of room left.
Well, there's some facts I want to put on the table, and I'm going to do it right after we come back. Now, Angie and Jeff's constant finger-pointing and blame game, frankly, it doesn't interest me in the least. If apathy were people, I would be China. I mean, I just don't, I don't care. And you shouldn't care. What you should care is about the kids. Now, the only reason that I wanted to speak to them is coming up next.
Jeff could be a really good dad if he would quit trying to always make me be the bad guy. Jeff sends a lot of nasty text messages. I'm a bad mom. I'm not taking care of the kids.
I don't think if it was for texting, we'd have had any communication.
Tomorrow on an all-new Dr. Phil. They're the star couples of reality TV.
You guys do bicker, right?
Jesse, she's a neat freak.
There's certain things you know you should do.
Is this an argument we're going to have right now?
But do they have real fights?
I don't understand why you're crying. Michelle and I fight every day.
Just like everyone else.
You're trying to impose your will on her, and it will not work.
I told them that if things don't change, we wouldn't make it to the end of the year.
That's tomorrow.
The marriage has brought out the worst in both of us. John has told the kids that their mom's a liar. John is capable of using the kids as pawns.
You're starting a new relationship as the co-allies of these children. And I guarantee you, if you alienate your children, they will resent you for it, and it will be the hardest hill you will ever climb.
One day, he had sat me and all three kids down and said, I want a divorce because of you and you and you and you, and pointed to each one of us.
These children don't have a voice. And if you two have decided you don't like each other, that is certainly your right, but your children don't deserve this.
Trisha has threatened that she's going to take these kids from me, and in her words, I'm going down.
Let's stop the drama. Let's bury the hatchet. Let's let the kids be kids. When does it get to be their birthday and they don't have to worry about your crap? Well, that was a quick montage of past guests who, in my opinion, just like Angie and Jeff, get caught up in situations where they run their emotional agenda and the kids become a rope in a tug-of-war between two people that have decided they don't like each other anymore, which is okay. It's okay to not like each other. It's not okay to make the kids pick up the tab for that, to make them pay for it. Now, take a look at how Angie and Jeff's children are handling the separation.
Jeff could be a really good dad if he would focus on the children and quit trying to always make me be the bad guy. He'll buy the boys things that he knows I can't afford.
My son had got invited to a ski trip. I gave him the money to go. He had told me Angie had made a comment, that's money that he could have given me. He should never be involved.
We used to be able to afford to do a lot of things that I have to tell them now that we can't afford, so it causes them to sometimes worry about money.
I don't think if it was for texting, we'd had any communication.
Jeff sends a lot of nasty text messages. I'm a bad mom. I'm not taking care of the kids. It causes me to get emotional in front of the children, which in turn hurts the kids.
My oldest son had called me, totally stressed out. You know, Mom's been crying all day. She's always talking about how because I don't give her enough money, how much stress it's causing her life. She uses the money thing like a weapon.
What would he have to do for you to go, okay, that's it, I'm through complaining, I'm through crying, I'm through manipulating, I'm through being the victim, I'm through being the perpetrator, whatever. What would he have to do?
He would have to stop sending the nasty text messages. He would have to come through with the promises that he makes. He would have to not be so angry all the time. I don't care what
he doesn't
the
like
option
you.
is. He hates me.
Okay, but see, y'all, that's why you get divorced.
Exactly.
It's because you don't like each other anymore. He doesn't have to like you anymore.
I totally agree with that.
He may love you at some level, and I think he probably does, and that's both a good and a bad.
I agree that.
But, okay, so what else?
I want to be able to afford to pay the basic bills.
You have to be specific. You want more money from him.
Yes.
Okay, what else do you need to do to stop this?
I just need, anytime I talk to him about anything, I don't care what it is, he's very combative, he's very angry.
Well, maybe you should quit talking to him.
Maybe I should, but we have 2 children, so how do I do that?
Well, maybe you have to get somebody that you mediate between, where you drop them off somewhere. I mean, but you can't tell me there's no way to stop this.
I'm not. I'm telling you, what am I missing?
Okay,
what is it that I'm not doing?
Okay, you said you don't want any more text messages. You say you won't do that. You say you want more money longer. The court's going to make that decision, not him.
Right.
And you want him to quit being so angry all the time.
Right.
And you can limit your contact with him. What else do you need?
I want him to stop calling my older son when he's at my home, asking him what's going on and putting him in the middle. I want him to stop disciplining my older son when my younger son calls him from my house because they had gotten into an argument, and he gets off the phone with my younger son, calls my older son, and starts yelling at him.
Okay, you don't like him intervening when they're with you?
No, not at all.
Okay, what else?
I don't want him putting my oldest in the middle.
Okay, what else?
That's all I can really think of off the top of my head.
What does she need to do so you'll stop this?
I think that all we really need, and I think we're in the process of doing it. I mean, all along, all I've asked for was We need to make it legal. We didn't have a separation agreement, Dr. Phil, for over a year, and we went to mediation. And the reason that we couldn't agree on a separation agreement and mediation is because she required that I agreed that my son, my youngest son, could spend the night at her boyfriend's house, which I wouldn't agree to. It's a fact. It's in the mediation records. So I wouldn't agree to that. I didn't understand where his role plays any role in my son's life. I didn't agree to that. The money situation would have been handled during mediation. I agreed to she put it in the computer, it spit out a number. I said, no problem. I rounded it up and said, let's make it that. What I think I need for this to end is we need it legal, so there doesn't have to be dialogue between us that's emotional and personal.
When the court renders an opinion, then whatever it is, you'll live with it, and that'll stop your reason to be in a debate with her about what you should give her or not give her.
That's what all the debates are about, so yes, sir.
Okay, so all you need is a court to render a judgment, and then you're
Closure.
good.
Yes, sir.
And then you're good.
As long as, yeah, I mean, as long as we continue to, like I said, I can't control what she does when she's with the boys. You know, I can only control what I do when
let me tell you all some things that I want you to know here. I've written a book called Family First, and I actually have a chapter in there about divorce and blended families. And I want to tell you some statistics of children that go through divorce. Adult men whose parents divorced when they were children are 3 times more likely to consider suicide. Women are 83% more likely to consider suicide. Anywhere from 2 to 3 to as much 10 times more likely to wind up in jail. Now, you got a 12-year-old, right? It's already had a brush with the law, right?
Right.
True?
Yes, sir.
So that's already come true. So he's part of that 12 times statistic, I assume. They're 60% less likely to attend college. They're 3 times more likely to get kicked out of school. They're 3 times more likely to become unwed pregnant teens. And they're 2 times more likely to abuse drugs and alcohol. Those are the risk factors that you're dealing with here. It would seem to me that given that those are the facts, your children are at risk. If this was a disease, you'd be getting them treatment, wouldn't you? You'd be trying to figure out some way to protect your children from contracting the disease. Fact, you are both hurt. You are both hurt. You are hurt that she has a boyfriend because you don't have that closure yet. This is a part of that just doesn't sit right with you. You admit, you look out the door to see if she's home. It hurts you. Both of you have been hurt in this. Fact, there's less money. When you have 2 houses instead of 1, there's less money to go around. That's a fact. Fact, there is a sick payoff that each of you are getting for keeping this drama going. And fact, your kids will pay the price. Integrity is when you behave in a good way when you don't have to. Integrity is doing the right thing when nobody's watching, nobody's listening, nobody's making you do it. That's integrity. And I wonder how much you feel you're living with integrity here. I can only deal with the truth. If one of you lies, I'm totally hamstrung.
I'm curious which part I just lied about.
Let me ask you something. If one of your children had a life-threatening disease, you had a child that was going to die, and all you had to do to cure that child was to find some conciliation and get along, could you do it?
I could do it.
Would you do it?
Absolutely.
Could you do it? Would you? If your child's life hung in the balance and the cure was you two had to quit bickering and fighting and bang, they would be cured, you could do it, wouldn't you?
Of course.
Could you?
Of course.
Would you?
Yes, sir.
So how high does the price have to get? I wanted Angie and Jeff to feel like they were both being heard from a legal standpoint because they seem to think that if the court will render an opinion, maybe that'll help. So I asked some lawyers to come here today. Family law attorneys Ariva Martin and Brett Berman are here. Ariva, what do you want to say about this from a legal standpoint?
You know, Dr. Phil, we've been hearing a lot about if the court would just order it, I would follow it from Jeff, but the reality is these are his kids. So do you want to do the legal thing or do you want to do the right thing? Jeff has it within his power, within his means to sit down and come up with an amount that makes sense, that can help her take care of her kids in a way that's going to be in the best interest of these children.
Brett, what do you want to say?
Well, first of all, these two went to mediation. And when you're in mediation, that's your chance to work together to try to make sure that a judge is not going to be making decisions for you. You didn't do that. Angie, you didn't do that. You had a chance to get more money from Jeff in mediation. You decided it wasn't good enough, and you went to court. Court made an order. That's all he's entitled. That's all he's obligated to pay you. So he's actually doing the right thing here.
Obligated to pay, Brett. These are their children. So yes, she went to mediation, and yes, maybe she didn't have good representation. We don't know what happened, but we know she can't live and those boys can't live on $349. And he can step up and pay more and provide for these kids in a way until she gets back on her feet. Come on, Brett. You know that's not enough. Be honest.
A court of law thought...
Brett, is that enough?
I don't know. I don't know. And if there's more money there and she can show the court that he has more income and he's not showing his income, then maybe there'll be more support. But a court found that the support order in place is sufficient.
But does he want to be legally correct or does he want to do the right thing by his kids? We keep hearing that he wants to do the right thing by his kids. So step up to the plate and do the right thing.
My whole point to both of y'all is that you should sit down and work this out between you instead of getting the court involved, because you have no idea what they're going to do. You're putting yourselves at risk when you turn it over to a third party that doesn't know you. You don't know what the judge, right. They don't know.
We walked out of the courtroom 2 weeks ago when the judge gave the $349 ruling. And I walked up to her outside the courtroom to try to tell her I would continue to pay the $500.
No.
And she went, don't talk to me, start taking care of your kids, and walked out of the courthouse.
That's not what happened. That's not what happened.
I can't, you know.
Well,
I'm going to do the right thing.
These are matters of fact. And for you to say that didn't happen, you say it did happen, somebody's lying, right?
Exactly.
Somebody's lying. How can I help you if somebody lies to me?
Exactly.
I can only deal with the truth.
Right.
If one of you lies to make it sound better, right, then I'm totally hamstrung.
I'm curious which part I just lied about.
He walked out of the courtroom, came over, because I had said to the judge, this is considerably less than what mediation came up with. She said, we're not going to deal with that today. We'll deal with it when we come back in May. I walked out of the courtroom. He came over to me and tried to explain to me, well, Angie, you don't understand. It has to do with the insurance. And I said, Jeff, I really don't want to talk to you right now. And he goes, well, it all works for me. And I said,
if it all works for me, why have I been paying her so much more than I was even required to? If it all works for me.
So you didn't say that?
No, sir. How can I
be
this
you're lying.
villain?
She's lying when
yes,
she
sir.
says that? Well, listen, I'm really good at dealing with everything that's put out on the table. I really am. I guess since somebody's lying to me, and you agree somebody's lying, right?
Yes, sir.
You agree somebody's lying, right?
Absolutely.
You just disagree about who it is.
Exactly.
I get that. All I can tell you is there comes a point where you have to say it just doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. What matters is the risk factor that these children are experiencing at this point. I mean, that's what matters here.
Absolutely.
And I can tell you that the greatest gift that you can give these children is to take them out of the middle and let them see their parents come together as a unified front and say, you know, we weren't able to work it out between us, but we both love you. And I want you to respect your mother. I want you to respect your father. Because if you alienate those children from their father, they will ultimately resent you for it in a major way.
I've never done that, and I never would.
If you do anything to alienate them from their mother, they will ultimately resent you for it. I've been doing this long enough that I've grown up with those kids that were 5, 6, 12, 15, that are now 20 and 30, and I can tell you how it turns out. I'm trying to help you here by telling you the stuff you're bickering about is not worth it. It's not worth it. There's an old saying in Texas, you're jumping over a dollar to get to a dime. The kids are the dollar. That's what matters here. I'm just asking you to decide what's important here. All right, we've got to take a break. Next, she's been divorced from her ex for 2 years and refuses to accept that he won primary physical custody of their daughter. Now, what she did to lose custody and why she wants her daughter back. Third party got involved because it wasn't worked out between them. We'll be right back.
I don't think Robert's a good dad.
Julie is unstable and a liar.
The day that the judge took my daughter from me, I died that day.
I want Julie to spend quality time with Madison and not spending time trying to strategize to get Maddie back. It's not going to happen.
Well, Julie accused her ex-husband Robert of abusing her and being sexually inappropriate with their 9-year-old daughter. But Robert says if the allegations were true, why would a judge award him primary physical custody of their daughter? Take a look.
My ex-husband, Robert, has kept my 9-year-old daughter from me.
Julie is unstable and a liar. Julie accused me of abusing the kids. Her accusations are insane and unfounded and very disruptive to our lives.
He took showers with her more than once. When I questioned Madison, she said, "Yes, Mommy." Then it freaked me out.
I couldn't believe it. Someone that I love and cherish would go that route. I couldn't even wish that on my worst enemy.
The judge thought that I fabricated this whole story. Why would I make up a lie like that?
She wanted custody, so she was going to play hardball, and that's what she did.
The day that the judge took my daughter from me and gave to Robert, I died that day. I don't think Robert's a good dad. When I get her for visits, she smells bad. Her hair is an absolute mess. That's neglect.
I think I'm a pretty good dad. I braid her hair, comb her hair, make sure she used conditioner, paint her nails. A few weeks ago, I was running a little late from work. Julie called the sheriff's department insinuating that Madison was by herself all the time, and that's not true.
I was calling Madison if she was home alone from 3 o'clock till about 5:15 or 5:30. She's too young to be home alone.
Again, it's another ploy to make me look bad. Julie's thinking that I'm trying to keep her away from Madison, but that's not the case. She chooses not to visit her.
I see Madison every couple of months, as often as finances allow.
Madison dodges Julie's phone calls because I don't think she wants to get caught up in the drama.
Robert keeps Madison from me. He takes her phone. He has to listen to every word she says, or I can't talk to her.
I want Julie to, spend quality time with Madison and not spending time trying to manipulate, get Maddie back. That's wasted energy because it's not going to happen.
Okay. You guys have been listening as I was talking to Jeff and Angie. What did you take away from my conversation with them?
The children. They're what's important.
So what do you need to change?
I feel that Madison should have never been taken from me, and
Did you make false allegations to the court?
They were not false allegations at all.
So you stand by that now, even though they have determined that they were false and that you made them up in an attempt to manipulate the situation?
Absolutely.
And they didn't agree with you? They don't believe you?
No, they don't.
And they ordered you to get a psychological evaluation, right?
Mm-hmm.
This was 2 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
And have you done that?
No. My attorney was supposed to send me the correct paperwork to get this done.
In 2 years, you couldn't figure out where this guy was to go take your psychological evaluation?
After everything was over, I didn't feel like it was necessary to have an evaluation.
What did you take away from the conversation that we've had?
I agree with exactly what you said. I try to do that. I've never once called the cops on her. I've gone out of my way to meet her halfway at my dime and my expense because I know she was financially strapped a little bit. Taking her out to dinner when we met.
So you live a couple hundred miles away now, right?
Yeah, about 5 hours away, and we meet in between.
Uh-huh. And how often do you go see your daughter?
As often as finances allow.
Why don't you move where she is?
I have other children in North Carolina, and they're happy there.
Uh-huh. So
I have thought about that. I have thought about moving closer.
Because I checked, and you pay half, right, for her to come?
Yeah. Well,
and you can take Amtrak for $65. You can take a bus for $70. Your half. And you would pay the other half, right?
Yeah, if that's what she wanted. Dr. Phil, she just moved in with her mom. My stepson and my stepdaughter is raised by the grandparents.
That's not true.
It is true.
That's not true.
She was living with her boyfriend. It is true.
That part is true.
You're pregnant now, right?
Yes.
But you're not...
No, I'm not.
No, I'm just checking. So you're pregnant. Is this your boyfriend that
Yes.
you're living with?
That I was. I'm not living with him now. I chose to go with my mom, live with my mom for now.
Uh-huh. So you believe that your daughter is living with a molester?
No, I never said that.
You said that he was sexually inappropriate with her.
I don't think Robert's a molester, but as a mother, I felt it was my responsibility to have it checked out, and that's what I did.
Okay. So you think she's safe with him?
To some degree, financially, yes. I don't think she's being taken care of properly as a little girl, no.
But yet you haven't seen her in a couple of months.
No.
See, there are a lot of women right now that are wondering why. That you would hitchhike if you had to. Some way, somehow, you would see your daughter.
Right.
And your point is she doesn't even see her own kid. That she's not even raising her kids, and she's not coming to see her daughter.
Right. And pregnant on top of that. Out of wedlock.
You had out of wedlock because you think that's a poor role model for...
Oh, absolutely. You know, and one of the questions she's always, I've asked her is, how are you going to raise Madison if that was hypothetically it was going to happen? You didn't even raise your other two kids. Now you made a poor decision, being pregnant out of wedlock. No one does that.
So, what do you want to see happen?
I want to see Madison come home with me where she belongs and where she wants to be.
All right, well, let's take a break. We're going to come back and talk about some notes found in Madison's so-called prayer box. And I've got to tell you, these left me very disturbed.
I feel extremely empty without Madison, and I know that she feels the same way. And I explained to Madison that all we can do now is pray. This is Madison's prayer box. Lord, if I had 3 wishes, the first one would be to live with my mother. The second one would be Mom could have a lot of money. The last one would be my dad would get punished for all he did to everyone, mostly me and my mom. Love, your child, Madison.
Well, this is Madison's prayer box. You encouraged her to make a prayer box so she had an outlet.
Yes.
She says, Dear God, Lord, I know you will let me live in North Carolina with my mother, and God, to show my father all he's done to hurt me and my mother. I would like you to do to him what he's done to us. What do you think about that?
I'm pretty disturbed by it. I've heard about it, but this is the first time I'm seeing and hearing about it.
Where's she getting these ideas?
I just told Madison that we just need to pray, Madison. And I never told her what to write or that's from Madison's heart.
I can tell you, if I read these, I would be very, very suspect that somebody was influencing this child to write these things, whether it be you or your mother or your friends or whatever. These are not constructs that I would expect a 9-year-old to be generating, particularly in the absence of any major conflict in the home. And I assume you don't have major conflict in the home.
No, sir. And Dr. Phil, Julie needs help. She really does. And she continues to do this type of things. And it's very selfish for not to take care of our daughter together and to keep, manipulating the child and keep, she just recently, she called the police on me because I was running a little late. I live 10 minutes away from work. And she was aware of it. And then she called Madison on her cell phone saying, hey, there's going to be a policeman coming.
So, Brett, a court would find these of particular interest, would you think?
No question about it. And, Julie, you better hope a court never actually puts their eyes on those, because that really is Pandora's box. Those kind of notes that are written by small children can backfire so easily.
Ariva, do you concur they find these relevant?
Well, the notes are troubling, Dr. Phil, but we hear Julie saying that she didn't direct the child to write the notes, and there's no evidence that she did. The little girl, we're hearing the dad say everything is perfect, but we're also hearing Julie say there are some issues, and I don't think those issues should be dismissed. Yeah, I'm concerned about the notes, but I'm also concerned that this mom is not being given a chance to be the best mother that she can be.
All right, we'll be right back.
If something isn't done, I don't know what's going to happen to Madison. I see her as depressed. She has gained a lot of weight, and I don't want her to go down the wrong path. If she stays with Robert, I don't know what's going to happen, and I'm scared it's going to damage Madison. I will never give up the hope that Madison will be with me.
I understand that you're raising this child, but I do have a concern here. Why are you letting that child be overweight?
I'm not trying to purposely let her be overweight. That's in my history. I was overweight. She likes to eat. It is a concern, and I try to deal with it. But you know, it's a challenge every day because she loves.
70+% of obese children become obese adults, and the health issues associated with her being at that weight at this age, you need to get that under control. And you know, you say she shows up unclean and hair not washed and smelly and not well groomed, etc. You're concerned about that?
Yes, absolutely. I've also seen, you know, I personally have witnessed Robert with not only Madison but his other children and his father. They are forced to clean their plate. When they're full, that's not good enough. You have to finish everything on your plate, and they'll be in tears having to eat what's on that plate, gorging themselves. And yes, Madison, the pictures you saw, that's not what happens every day.
Yeah, that's an issue, and you need to address that because it's going to haunt her if you don't. So please deal with that. Look, I don't know. As Areva says, I don't know where this is coming from.
I never coerced her into writing any of those things, but I felt like it was important to share because, you know, here I am, I'm trying to be her voice, and yet, well, you're telling her what to say.
Well, I think you wanted to share it because it's her saying she wants to be with you, not with him.
I shared it
so
because
that seems to be...
that's what's in her heart. That's what Madison wants, and that's why I'm here, to be her voice.
Well, this is likely not going to be credible with the court. I'm just telling you.
Right.
It's just my opinion. I could be completely wrong. This child could be generating this totally on her own without any influence from adults in her lives. That could happen. I don't think that's right. Somebody's influencing this, and this is not going to look good given the court's finding about your allegations to begin with.
Okay.
And if you want to modify that court order, which you do, correct?
Yes, I do.
But yet you haven't complied with the court order because they ask you to get a psychological evaluation. You haven't done that.
I am more than willing to get a psychological...
Well, apparently not, because it's been 2 years and you haven't done it.
And she hasn't paid child support in over 3 years, not a penny.
After the initial ruling, I didn't see the point of getting an evaluation. However, I'm not opposed to it at all.
But I'm trying to give you an idea of how this is going to be looked at.
Right.
How can you afford to have a child if you can't afford to even go through the steps necessary to have access to your other child? I mean, people are going to ask you these hard questions, and I don't think you have answers for them.
No, that's why I'm here. I need answers. I need guidance. I want my children with me. When you're buried in a pit of financial ruin, it's extremely hard to climb out of.
You want some advice, and I'm going to give it to you right now. If you're playing games with this, you're outsmarting yourself. You don't have the ability to recognize how this is going to be seen by the court. If you are involved in this, you need to get uninvolved.
So I should tell my child not to pray?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Well, I don't understand. That's what I told her to do, and she wrote those prayers down. That's Madison. That's all Madison.
Well, if that's the case, then you don't have any adjustment to make, do you? But I'm telling you, if you think you're outsmarting the system, the court made the determination that you made false allegations against this man, and as a result, they dealt very harshly with you.
That's correct.
If you now come and they see this as an attempt at manipulation, then they're going to be very harsh with you again.
Absolutely.
I'm just trying to tell you, because I don't think you see the impact of some of these things from an objective finder of facts point of view. I'm trying to stop you from doing things that can hurt your chances of having a relationship with this child.
When you are telling the truth about something, that's significant. And obviously it was not believed. How? How can you get the truth across? Like, I've offered to take a polygraph. I would do anything. That's why I'm here, to let you know I'm telling the truth. I'm telling you, this is not relevant to the court other than in the negative. So I'm telling you, if you're involved in this, you need to not be. You need to not be. If they've ordered you to get a psychological evaluation and they have questions about your motivation and your reasoning, you need that evaluation. You need to get that done. That needs to happen. Okay. And I've told you what I think you need to do with her as far as her health and her weight. I hope you will take that very seriously. We'll be right back. Well, I want to thank all of my guests today. A special thanks to Areva Martin and Brett Berman for helping us out today. In life, you have to pick your battles. There's things where you just have to say, I'm just not going to react. And you've got to just take the high road and just say, you know what? I unplug. I refuse to be involved in the back and forth. And I've not said a lot about the children and their patterns here, but I'm telling you, I see indications of them having reactions to what's going on, and you want to stop this now. Give them that gift. Be the hero in this situation and fix this problem for your kids, even if it doesn't fix it for the two of you. I mean, give them that gift. They need that. They need repair. On drphil.com, I'm going to have a list and a discussion of the exaggerated needs of kids from divorce and in blended families. Take a look at them. They're very, very important. Thanks for being here. So long.